Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Now today we will discuss small intestine 1 and followed by small intestine 2 also. Inshallah, we will try to cover it within time. So as you all know that in GIT we are discussing each and every part of the GIT under 4 headings. What are these 4 headings?
Motility,
Yes,
digestion, I think,
yes.
absorption, and secretion.
Good. These are the one. Yeah. So here in this lecture, what are our objectives? Our objective is to be knowing or recall the types of intestinal motility. Here we will discuss the what are the types of motility present in small intestine. So first is motility, then functions of different types of the motility. What motility or how motility will be helping the individual to digest or absorb. So what are the functions of different types of motility? Then what are the factors which will control the motility? What are the factors which will control the motility? So factors affecting or factors that controlling, maybe physical factors, maybe some hormonal factors. So we will discuss that one. And as we have discussed, there are secretions everywhere in the GI tract, like in the mouth, saliva, then in the stomach, there is a gastric secretion. So here in the small intestine also, there is a secretion which we call it as succus entericus. What is its function and how it is secreted? We will see in this lecture. Then some of the parts we will cover in the next lecture. So remaining one is the importance of enzymes. So coming to the digestion, how the digestion of different types of food particles is occurring in the small intestine, and what is the role of brush border, what is the role of brush border in digestion, and what is its clinical significance. So digestion of different types of nutrients we will discuss in this lecture, followed by in the next lecture, that is the part 2 of a small intestine. Remaining things, absorption we will discuss, and absorption of the different food particles. Okay, so as you know, these are the 4 headings under which the GIT, every single part or organ is discussed. One is motility, second is secretion. So we will cover it in lecture number 1, part 1, and digestion and absorption in some in the part 1 and some in the part 2. So this is how we will be covering the small intestine. So two types of motility motions or movements are present in a small intestine. One is known as segmentation contraction. Segmentation. The movement which is occurring is known as segmentation. That means it will divide the small intestine pipe into different segments. 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. And the second type of motility which is present is known as migrating motility complex, or in short form, it is known as MMC. So two types of movements are seen. One is segmentation and second one is MMC. Two types of motility are present. What is the role of segmentation? How segmentation is helpful for our body? It causes mixing and slow propelling of the food. First is it will mix the food. The food particle which is partially digested will be mixed because of segmentation. Also, it will propel or push the food towards the second part. So this food particle which is partially digested, they will be pushed forward. So from, let's say, when the food enters into the duodenum, it will be partially digested, then it will move to the jejunum, then it will move to the ileum because of this segmentation contraction. What are segmentation concept contraction? We will see it here, and why these are occurring. So these segmentation contractions are nothing but oscillating. These are nothing but oscillating ring-like contraction. Ring-like contraction. So contraction is occurring in the whole circumference of the small intestine. Let's say in the side way, suppose this is a uncontracted small intestine. So ring of contraction will occur here, then here, Then here, by this way, it will divide the small intestine into different segments. That's why the name is segmentation contraction, and it is called as oscillating. Oscillation means going, coming and going, coming and going. So it will come here and go, and then come here in between and go, and come here in between and go. So that's why it will be moving the food few millimeter by few millimeter to the next segment. So this is the meaning of oscillating ring-like contraction of the smooth muscle occurring in the small intestine. And as you know, whole GIT we are having that four layers from inside to outside or outside to inside. If you remember, in between you will have a muscle layer, circular muscle and the longitudinal muscles. So in the circular muscles, there is a contraction going on of the smooth muscle, which will cause segmentation contraction. So let's
Doctor,
say
is
this
the oscillating like peristalsis?
yes, like peristalsis. So it is occurring at one place and disappearing, then appearing at next place and disappearing. So actually it is not moving itself, but the next contraction is coming after maybe few millimeters. So the same contraction is not passing to the next segment, but it is appearing at one place and disappearing, appearing at second place and disappearing, appearing in between and disappearing like that. So it is alternating. You can say alternating contraction and relaxations are occurring, that is why the small intestine is divided into segments. So suppose this is a uncontracted now small intestine. So once contraction starts at this place, it will become like this, become a contracted ring, and the second place it will be like this. So by this way it will be getting a pouch like different pouch, not in the form of a pipe, but it will become a pouch like. So here the contraction is occurring here, here, here. In the next movement the contractions will change their position. It will start here now and start here now. So this area which was contracted before will be relaxed, and the next area will become contracted.
Doctor, are they
Yes.
contracting at the same time?
No.
No,
Yani,
like, yeah.
yes, few millimeters they are contracting at the same time. Let's
Okay.
say this is the first stage. So they are contracting here, number one, number two. Okay. In the next few minutes or a few after few some time, they will be contracting in different place. Instead of suppose this is one was here, so it will start contracting here. Two was here, so it will contract at the another place. Okay. So
Yeah, right.
contraction ring will be appearing every few centimeter after some time, dividing the small intestine into segments. I will show you the picture, then you will understand. By this way, it will cause mixing of the food. How? The picture will tell you better, like this. So this, let's say this is the stage number one. At let's say at 0 hour, and maybe after 2 minutes. This may be after 4 minutes. So at first stage, contraction is here, here, and here, and here. Okay. These are the areas where contractions are there. And to show that how the food is mixing, here the diagram shows different color. In, let's say, this is segment number one, so yellow food. In segment number two, it's a purple or brownish food. Segment number three again, maybe say, let's say one and two like this. Okay. In the next, after 2 minutes, here, instead of contraction here, now the relaxation phase occur. Now here, this was a relaxation. Now at this place, contraction occur. So because of that, this food is divided into two parts, and now it comes under one pouch. So food from two and first or pouch number two and pouch number one is in same pouch now. Similarly here, you see there was a contraction here. Now this place it becomes relaxed. Here it was relaxed, now it becomes contracted. So half food from number one and half food from number two, it is mixed in this pouch. That's why it is called as mixing movement. Now it is food is mixed. Again mixed here, again mixed here. In the next 2 minutes, let's say after 2 minutes, of this, let's say 4 minutes, again, half of the mixed food is now the relaxed part becomes contracted. The contracted part becomes relaxed. You are getting my point?
Yes,
So,
doctor.
Yes, yes,
yeah,
clear,
so,
doctor. Yes, thank
so
you.
because of that, the food which was here of one color, now it is mixed between the alternate segments. So that's why it is called as mixing the food. Okay. Now we don't call it as food because it is already digested. What we call chyme or chyme. We call it as partially digested as chyme. So chyme is mixing between different segments. Okay. So the function of segmentation movement is mixing the food with the different. Now how it is mixing? Mixing among the liquid here, also mixing with the digestive enzyme, with the digestive enzymes. And during this phase, the food is also rolling. It is not just cutting into two pieces, but it is also rolling. Because of rolling, let's say this is the cross-sectional area of the intestine. Let's say this is the inside of the intestine. And the food bolus is here, chyme bolus. So it is rolled and it comes in contact with all the surface, mucosal surface. So it is because of rolling, it is coming in contact with the epithelial cells. And because of that, it will be absorbed also. So here is the explanation. Contractions are initiated by the, now why contractions occur? Why the small intestine, which was like this, become like this? Why? Why the contractions occur? This
To
contraction,
increase the surface area of the
yeah,
food
but why it
absorption.
occurs? Yani, what is the physiology behind this contraction? The effect is, yes, it will increase the surface area, mixing the food, propelling the food.
It's the
But why
plexuses,
contraction
doctor.
occurs?
It's
Huh?
the plexuses, the intrinsic plexuses in the inside the
Yes,
small intestines.
if you remember the histology, different layers of the small intestine, this is the lumen, and these are the four layers. In the layer of the longitudinal and circular muscle, there lies the nervous tissues. There lies the nervous tissues, and they are producing a wave of contraction, depolarization and repolarization, not contraction and relaxation. They are producing wave of depolarization. If you remember from physiology, from foundation block, anything going up, this is the resting membrane. Anything going up is called as depolarization. Anything going down is called as repolarization. So there is an alternate wave of depolarization and repolarization is going on in these muscles. So this is called as basic electrical rhythm. Small intestine, there are pacemaker cell. There are pacemaker cells. Pacemaker cells are, what do you mean by pacemaker cell?
Generate its own rhythm.
Yes, good. If you remember from pacemaker of the heart, they themselves they get stimulated. They don't need from external source, some stimulation, some electrical current, some nervous signal. No, they don't need. They are they have got unstable membrane. They
Doctor, the
have got
cells of
unstable.
Kajal, right? The
Yes, yes,
interstitial cells
sure,
of Kajal.
sure, sure. Very good, very good. So these are the cells which has got unstable membrane potential. Unstable means they don't remain as static. Always they are trying to pull sodium or pull yeah, pull sodium and throw potassium, something like that. They are always going on. This is always going on. That's why their potential is not in one line. Their potential is always fluctuating, going up and down and up and down. If this up and down, when it reaches to the threshold level, suppose this is a threshold level, it will produce a contraction wave. It will produce action potential basically, which will cause the
Doctor,
contraction of the smooth muscle.
they
Yes,
don't have a resting membrane, right?
they don't have resting membrane, right? Good.
All right, yeah.
So once they reach to the threshold level, suppose this is the threshold level, because of why threshold level will be reached? Maybe food bolus will stretch more, or maybe some chemical stimulation is occurring. So because of that, it will reach to a level where more and more sodium channels will open and it will cause depolarization and repolarization. This is called as action potential will occur. This action potential will convert the muscle into contraction. Okay. So this is the mechanism by which BER, that is called as basic electrical rhythm, which is a in background it is going on. Basic electrical rhythm is a throughout, whether you eat or you don't eat, there is always depolarization, repolarization wave is occurring. But if it is little bit pushed from basic electrical rhythm to the threshold, it will cause action potentials, which will cause the contraction of the smooth muscles of the small intestine, and this will cause the segmentation contraction. Okay. Both duodenum and ileum start to segment as meal enter into the small intestine. When meal enter into the small intestine, they will start to segment. They will become segmented. So mechanism of initiation of segmentation. Local distension, when the food enters or chyme enters, it will cause stretching of the lumen. The muscles will get stretched. This will cause conversion of basic electrical rhythm into action potential leading to contraction. There is another mechanism which is called as through gastrin, secretion of gastrin hormone, GI hormone secreted by the stomach. Even though the food did not enter into the small intestine, let's say here is the stomach and here is the duodenum and the jejunum. Okay. So even if the food is here, they start to have segmentation. You may be asking why. There is no stimulation, there is no food enter, there is no stretching, but still they are causing segmentation. Why? Because as the food is here, there will be release of gastrin hormone, which will join the blood vessels. It will be poured into the blood vessel and this will be brought to act here on the small intestine, jejunum, duodenum, jejunum. This will cause the reflex which is called as gastroileal reflex, meaning food is in the stomach, but the ileum is starting segmentation contraction. That's called as a gastroileal reflex. It can be also because of the parasympathetic stimulation, whereas sympathetic will cause decrease the segmentation activity. Opposite to the parasympathetic, sympathetic will suppress this activity. So first thing is the local distension. When suppose this is a small intestine initially, when food enters, it will be slightly stretched. So it will cause segmentation. Okay. This is local stretch mechanism. But even sometimes the food is still in the stomach, they will start to have segmentation because of the gastrin hormone. Gastrin hormone released from the mucosal cells or the cells in the stomach, join the blood vessels and then poured here into the or acting on the small intestine to cause the segmentation. So gastrin plus local reflex. This is called as a gastroileal reflex.
So, doctor, initiation of segmentation is from two. First is the gastroileal reflex, which is hormonal, and then the physical distension of the intestines themselves, which is physical.
Yes, good. So duodenum starts to segment primarily in response to the local distension caused by the presence of chyme, because duodenum is the first one to receive the food or the chyme, undigested food. This will cause the segmentation. Or the ileum is, although not receiving the food, but still it will cause the contraction. This is called as the gastroileal reflex. What are the functions of this segmentation contraction? As I told you, it will mix the food with the digestive juices. There are digestive juices coming from the pancreas as well as from the intestine. It will be mixing the food or the chyme with it. That's why it is useful. Also, it will expose the chyme. As I told you, the food bolus will roll in all the walls of the small intestine internally. So it will expose the food to the mucosa, which will helping in the absorption of the food. Also, the function of segmentation is propelling the food. That means moving the food little by little, few centimeter by few centimeter ahead. This is called as propelling the food. This is again functions of the segmentation. Now, what is the frequency of segmentation? Different areas, different frequency of segmentation is occurring. That means in the duodenum, it is about 12 times per minute segments are occurring. And in the terminal ileum, it is slightly slow, that is 9 times per minute. So contents will take around 3 to 5 hours to move throughout the whole small intestine. Once the food enters into the stomach and then poured into the small intestine or duodenum, till it reaches to the large intestine, it will be almost 3 to 5 hours. Second type of contraction in the small intestine is known as migrating motility complex, MMC, migrating motility complex. This is just like sweeping the whole small intestine, cleaning the whole small intestine, making it empty and keeping it ready for the next meal. So these are the sweeping movements. Yeah, they will push everything which is present, undigested, partially digested, some liquid, some enzymes, everything, to move to the next area or the next segment, so that it will receive the fresh meal or fresh food. This is called as migrating motility complex. It is occurring between meals. Yani you have taken breakfast and you are reaching towards the lunch time. Then in between, there will be one sweeping movement will come, which will clean or will push everything from the small intestine following to the large intestine. This is called as MMC. When most of the meals are absorbed, segmentation contraction will stop and they are replaced by MMC in between the meals. So what is MMC? These are nothing but the weak. Again, they are not very strong. They are weak but repetitive peristaltic wave. What is the difference between segmentation and MMC? Is peristalsis. In segmentation, we have seen, suppose this was an uncontracted small intestine. Segmentation contraction will occur like this, sorry. Making the small intestine into different segments. So contraction is occurring here, one contraction. Second contraction is occurring here. And it will be relaxed and again will be contracted. But in peristalsis, the contraction which is starting at one place will be pushed to the other place and will be pushed to the third place. So it is moving. Peristaltic wave means these are the moving contraction. The same contraction will move from one place to another place. Whereas in segmentation, it is occurring and disappearing. Bas, that's it. Contraction and relaxation. Here, the contractions will appear and it will push or move to the next side, same contraction. So that for a short distance, it will travel before it will become very unnoticeable. And here it will be very strong contraction, here slightly less, and here will be very less or no more contraction. Okay. So that's why it is called as peristaltic wave. Peristaltic wave are moving wave from one area to another area, whereas segmentation is local contraction and relaxation. So MMC starts at the stomach and migrate down the intestine. What is the function? Function is sweep. Just like take a broom or brush and sweep everything from intestine to the large intestine. That's why it is called as housekeeping contraction also. Is MMC also known as housekeeping contraction. You know housekeeping? When you are in the hotel, they knock the door every morning that there is a housekeeping. What housekeeping
Like
do?
sweeping.
Yeah.
Sweeping.
Housekeepers.
Cleaning.
They are cleaning. They will clean everything and they will make the room again tidy. So here MMC also it will clean everything from the small intestine so that the next meal can come. Okay. So that's why they are called as the housekeeper contraction also. How it is regulated, which hormone is responsible for it? The hormone motiline is responsible for it. Motiline is secreted by the endocrine cells of the small intestinal mucosa. It is produced there in the small intestine, motiline hormone, and it will cause MMC. Sorry. So Dr. Sharak gave the similarity for housekeeping contractions like this. Everyone is familiar with this picture that if you visit Haram, you will find that cleaners, they come in a wave-like fashion. They come maybe 20, 30 sweepers, and they push everything from the floor to the side or to the next segment. So similar to this, when a wave of contraction comes in the small intestine, which is MMC, it will clean everything and push the things to the next segment. Right here, the video is there. Can you see?
Yes, yes, clear, doctor.
So peristaltic wave, just like a peristaltic wave, each individual you can say one wave, and they are pushing the every dirt or they clean the floor. And this is how is even the small intestine also. There are repetitive contractions occur, and they will push everything from the small intestine to the next segment or to the large intestine. Before the food enters into the large intestine, it is regulated by a regulator, or we call it as a valve, that is called as ileocecal sphincter. Between the ileum and the cecum, there is a sphincter-like action. There is like a pouch or a string-like area which will contract and relax so that the gates will open or gate will close. So ileum opens into the cecum. If you remember the structure of the GIT, let's say from the duodenum, 3 parts, and the ileum, and then it reaches to the large intestine. Before large intestine starts, it will open into a pouch-like structure here in the ascending colon. So like this, it will open. This one is cecum. Okay. So area is called as a ileocecal sphincter, which will prevent, it will not allow everything to, now it will allow the movement in one direction. What is the function of this ileocecal sphincter? To push the food from ileum to the large intestine, small to the large intestine. It will not go opposite side. Why it will not go opposite side? Or what will happen if it go to the opposite side from large to small intestine? Any idea?
Infection?
Yes, infection, because colon contain bacteria. Colon contains some bacteria which are responsible for digestion of the food. They are present only in the colon, not in the small intestine. So if this valve is malfunctioning or there is no valve, then they can enter into the small intestine. So this is preventing infection or contamination of the small intestinal content from the colonic bacteria. Two factors are there. One is a valve, ileocecal valve. There is a clear-cut valve like fold of tissue is there, which is helping to open and close. And there is a ileocecal sphincter also. So both of them will be responsible for preventing the backflow of the colonic bacteria from large to small intestine. I will show you in the picture. So how this valve will function? It will be, let's say the food is coming from the small intestine and it will be opening into the cecum. So when the food is coming, it will cause stretching. Because of this stretch, this valve will, otherwise it will be remaining in closed state. So because of the stretch, it will pushing movement and the bolus of the food or chyme, it will be pushed here and the valve will open, mechanical. Ileocecal sphincter is a smooth muscle. Again, it will be under some nervous control. Neural control is also there because of the myenteric plexus, and also under hormonal control. Not only neural control, but hormonal control. Distension on the ileal side will cause the sphincter to open, and reaction is mediated by the intrinsic plexuses. So this is neural. So when the food is here, it will stretch, and this will lead to stimulation of the myenteric plexus, and this will cause the relaxation or opening of the valve. Also, because of hormone gastrin. From where the gastrin is coming?
From stomach?
Yes, from stomach. So gastrin is coming from the stomach. So when the food is in the stomach also, or it is released from there, it will cause the relaxation of the ileocecal sphincter. So hormonal control as well as neural control to open the ileocecal valve. Here the whole picture will describe everything. So this is the small intestine here. You can see in the center is the small intestine. In the big way, you will see this is the ileum. The small intestine is coming here, and this is the hole is the cecum, and this is the opening. It is open into the cecum. This is called as ileocecal sphincter. This area, okay, and it will be by push. Food is pushing, stretching will occur. So neural stimulation will be there. Plus gastrin will be released from here and can act on the ileocecal sphincter. So both factors, gastrin plus neural stimulation, can lead to opening of ileocecal sphincter. So up till now we have seen the motility part. Now we will switch to the secretion. What is the secretory part in the small intestine? As you know, in the stomach, it was the gastric fluid or gastric juice. Again, in the small intestine, there is a small intestinal juice. In small intestinal juice is there, but this juice is known as succus entericus. The name of this juice is known as succus entericus. Succus entericus does not contain any digestive enzyme. Please be careful. It will not contain in the juice. Suppose this is a small intestine and some liquid is there. This liquid is having no digestive enzyme. No digestive enzyme. But where the digestion will take place? If you remember, there are folds in the mucosa, mucosal folds. And if you enlarge it, you will see there are villi and there are epithelial cells. On this villi, on the cells, on the surface, there are digestive juices present. So not in the liquid. This is not present here, but they are bound to the epithelial cells, bound to the epithelial cells or on the brush border. Here it is known as, because it looks like a, if you see one cell, one epithelial cells, this is one epithelial cells. So the finger-like projections is nothing but the brush border. So on the brush border, or another name is microvilli, the digestive enzymes are present. They are not present in the liquid. Okay. This is just to remember that succus entericus does not contain digestive enzyme, means they are not present freely in the liquid, but they are present on the brush border. What this succus entericus contain? What is the constituent of the intestinal juice? First one is the water. Maximum amount of water is there. Mucus is there. Mineral salt is there, and the pH is alkaline. pH is alkaline. You have seen gastric juice is acidic pH. Here the pH is alkaline. Why it could be alkaline? Any idea?
Doctor, it helps the enzymes like lipase and stuff work efficiently.
Of course, but why? Why alkaline?
Bicarbonates?
From where?
Bicarbonates?
Yes, but from where bicarbonates are coming?
Pancreas?
Yes, this is what I was drawing. So pancreatic duct is opening and pancreas will secrete pancreatic juice, which is alkaline. So that's why the alkaline nature of the succus entericus. Digestive juice or the gastric juice is acidic because of the HCl. Here pancreatic juice is a pancreatic secretion will make the intestinal, small intestinal juice or succus entericus alkaline. 7.8 is the pH. Around 1.5 liters is secreted per day. Secretion is increasing after meal due to local stimulation. Meal contains many things, salt, it will contain some chemicals, it will contain some spices. All these are stimulating the intestinal mucosa to cause the secretion more. So during the meal, the secretion will be more. Around 1.5 liters per day is the amount of secretion of the succus entericus. So small intestinal digestion, third part of the any area we discuss as the digestion. So in the small intestine, enzymes are present on the brush border. This is the villus. On the villus, there is a epithelial cells and there are finger-like projections. So if you enlarge this area, you will see one cell with finger-like projection. This is called as brush border. And here there are many cells like this. And this will be folding like this. So here it will be some crypts are coming. This area, the one which is down, Wadi is the crypts. It is known as crypt. And the peak are the peak of the villus. Okay. On the villus, you will see there are epithelial cells. On the epithelial cells, you will see finger-like projection. These are called as the microvilli or brush border. And there are the enzymes present. So in the lumen of the small intestine, pancreatic enzymes, which are coming from the pancreas, are acting on the fat. So pancreatic enzyme, which is coming from the pancreas, which enzyme will be digesting fat?
Lipase.
Yes, pancreatic lipase. So pancreatic lipase, which is secreted by the pancreas, it will be coming into the small intestine and it will start. Now you must remember one thing, that succus entericus does not contain any of the enzyme, but pancreatic lipase is present, which is coming from the pancreas. So digestion of fat will be in the lumen. Digestion of fat in lumen of the small intestine. Okay. But digestion of carbohydrate and protein will be on the brush border. So digestive product of fat will give you monoglyceride and free fatty acid. Digestion of the fat will give you monoglyceride and free fatty acids, which will be in the lumen. Whereas carbohydrate and protein will be on the brush border. Proteins are broken down into peptide fragments and into the amino acid by trypsin and chymotrypsin, which we have seen in the pancreatic secretion. Carbohydrates will be reduced to disaccharidases and some of the monosaccharidases. Therefore, fat digestion is completed. Here, it is not completely digested. Carbohydrate is not completely digested. It is only disaccharide and monosaccharides are formed, whereas proteins are just becoming amino acids because of the trypsin and into the fragments of the peptides and some of the amino acids. Whereas fat is completely digested in the lumen. So in the lumen surface of the small intestine on the epithelial cells, there are microvilli or hair-like projection, which we call them as brush border. What is this brush border? It is nothing but the plasma membrane, which is containing three types of enzyme. What three types of enzymes are there in the brush border? Enterokinases. Enterokinases.
Maltese and sucrose and this one?
Yes, good. So first enzyme is for protein, which is called as the which activates the pancreatic proteolytic enzyme is enzyme trypsinogen is enterokinases. One is enterokinase present on the brush border. Second one is disaccharidases like maltase, sucrase, and lactase. Maltase for maltose digestion, sucrase for sucrose digestion, and lactase is for the lactose digestion, which will convert the lactase into glucose. Okay. Aminopeptidases, third enzyme is present as aminopeptidases, which will hydrolyze the peptides which are formed because of the enterokinase trypsinogen and chymotrypsinogen. This will digest the peptides into small amino acids or individual amino acid, you can say individual amino acid, thereby completing the protein digestion. Therefore, we can say carbohydrate and protein digestion will be completed on the brush border, whereas fat digestion, where it will occur?
In the lumen.
In the lumen, right? In the lumen. Very good. Okay, this is the summary of how the different food particles will be digested. So carbohydrate, we will see this is in the mouth, salivary gland, mouth, and then where exactly hydrolyzes polysaccharides and trisaccharides in the small intestine. This is for the small intestine disaccharides. Maltase on the small epithelial cells. For the protein, pepsin will be present in the stomach, whereas trypsin, chymotrypsin, and carboxypeptidases and aminopeptidases, it will be in the small intestine here. So the carbohydrate in the small intestine because of the disaccharidases enzymes. For protein, it is because of on the epithelial cells by the aminopeptidases, carboxypeptidases, and trypsin, chymotrypsin. Whereas lipase first is present in the mouth also, but it is very little amount. But in the exocrine pancreas, it will be secreting, and in the small intestinal lumen, there will be digestion of fat. Okay, and which will convert it into fatty acids and monoglyceride. Here in the small intestine, the proteins will be converted into amino acid or maybe small peptides, whereas glucose will be converted into monoglyceride, monosaccharides, and after that into glucose. Okay, what are the, after looking at the motility, digestion, and secretion, what applied aspect can be answered or can be answered because of this knowledge? One condition is known as very common. Maybe you might have heard about if you go to any shop or grocery shop, you will see the milk, normal milk, and there is one milk which is called as lactose free, right? Lactose free.
Yes, doctor.
So what is that? Some people are not able to digest the normal milk because of they have got a condition called as lactose intolerance. For them, now the companies are making milk, they are extracting, removing the lactose from it, and they are making it lactose free so they can easily digest it. Why it occurs? Why lactose intolerance occurs? This occurs because of the deficiency of an enzyme called as lactase. Where it will be present? It will be present brush border of the small intestine. Very good. So if the lactase enzyme is defective or absent, maybe lactase enzyme is there, but the brush border is destroyed. It could be causing the lactose deficiency. Either it will be allergic to lactose or there may be no lactose. Okay, lactase. This will lead to indigestion of the fat milk or you can say the lactose in the milk. This will cause the undigested lactose to reach to the large intestine. Okay. In the large intestine, what are there? There are bacterias. There are bacterias, microorganisms. So these will be acting on the lactose to cause production of carbon dioxide as well as methane. when gas is produced in the large intestine, what will happen? It
When
will
what?
become, when the
Bloating.
large amount of gas is produced, it will cause, it may be becoming a balloon-like structure, right? Stretch. This stretching will cause discomfort, or there may be pain. So there could be cramps, or because of this overstretching, there could be diarrhea, or maybe because of undigested lactose, there could be diarrhea, loose motions. And this is also seen in children, even not like some adult person. Yes, they have got the ability to have a lactose intolerance, but very common in babies, newly born babies. They usually cry whenever they you give the feed, because you give them lactose and they are not able to digest, and it will cause production of the large amount of gas, and that's why their stomach, or you can say the abdomen, get stretched, and they will cry, severe cry for the children. So this could be lactose intolerance, because this is not secreted in the good amount in the early stages. That's why this is newborn, they are having cry after meal because of lactose intolerance. Okay, so lactose intolerance again can be present for the adults also, which will have indigestion of the food, any milk product which is not free of lactose. So they have to buy lactose-free formula. Okay. What is absorbed in the small intestine? We have seen motility, we have seen secretion, we have seen digestion. Now, what is absorbed in the small intestine? In the small intestine, carbohydrate, protein, fat, electrolyte, vitamins, water are absorbed indiscriminately. What is the meaning of indiscriminately?
Like they just take it without any hesitation.
Without any hesitation, yes. If you eat more carbohydrate, lot of carbohydrate, it will be absorbed. If you eat more protein, it will be absorbed. It doesn't, if you eat little protein, it will be reabsorbed. So no quantity variation. Whatever may be the quantity, they will be easily absorbed. So this is called as indiscriminately. Now, this will you will understand when I will tell you the second step. Whereas absorption of calcium and iron is adjusted according to the body need. Here, whatever you eat more fat, it will be absorbed. If you eat more glucose, it will be absorbed. If you eat more protein, it will be absorbed, whatever quantity it is present. But that's why it is called as indiscriminately. But second stage, whereas calcium and iron cannot be absorbed. If you take, let's say, 1 gram of iron, it will be absorbed? No. If you take maybe 50 grams of calcium, it will be absorbed 50 gram? No. Why? It depends upon your total body iron or your total body calcium. If your body calcium level is plasma calcium levels are normal, it will be little absorbed. If your calcium level is low, it will be more absorbed. Similarly for iron, if you are anemic, absorption will be more. If you are already normal, their absorption will be normal as per the daily requirement, not even if you eat excess of iron or excess of calcium. Why? Because they are regulated by hormone. They are regulated, their absorption is regulated under hormones. Which hormone regulate calcium?
PTH.
Not hormone as well as vitamins. Yes, yes, parathyroid hormone. And here for iron also there is hormone. I will tell you in the next slide. So most of the absorption is occurring in early part of the small intestine. Big small intestine length is very big. So in the early part, like duodenum and jejunum, most of the absorption will be finished. Whereas ileum, little bit, some special things will be absorbed. So they say the small intestine has a reserve capacity. That means it has got a big capacity which is not used for absorption. Only 50% of the small intestine can be useful, whereas 50% is just kept as reserve. In case of emergency, it will be used. So if there is a problem, tumor, constriction, or infection in the small intestine severe, then half of the small intestine can be removed easily without any change in the absorption, without any interference in the absorption. Except there is again one more thing, except why? Because the vitamin B12 and bile salts, they are absorbed in the terminal ileum only. This is this part, terminal part. This is responsible for absorption of B12 and and bile salts. So if you remove half of the small intestine, nothing will be hampered except the absorption of bile salt and B12 will be hampered. This will be affected because they are specifically absorbed in the last part, whereas most of the absorption will occur in the duodenum and jejunum only. Okay. Any difficulty in this?
Clear.
Clear, huh?
That's very clear, doctor.
Right. So we will have a break of maybe 5 minutes. You can take a cup of tea or water, whatever you like. Just 5 minutes, or maybe just change your position. Also, I will change my position, and we will continue the next lecture. I will stop recording and start so that we will have a split two recordings. But please remind me when we start after 5 minutes, maximum 5 minutes. Before 5 minutes also we can start.
Inshallah. Thank you
Okay,
so much, doctor.
Okay, so I will stop sharing and I will stop recording also.
Doctor,
Yes.
can you please